think today I just want to paint so that I can meditate and go back in time to a memory I have of camping in the mountains of North Carolina. Oh my goodness. Maybe one day I'll get back. Maybe one day I'll do it again. But when I was younger, I would camp. I loved camping. I even wrote a song called I Love Camping. And then I wrote another one called We Love Camping. Yeah, 2 songs I wrote about camping. And now I'm painting about camping because it's a great, great memory. And more important, for the sake of this video, is that sometimes we as artists have an opportunity to go back in time, and all we need is our paintbrush. Think about that. The paintbrush serves as a time machine, because as you're working on the painting, the whole time I did this painting, for the most part, I was thinking to the days when that man in that picture was me. I can feel the cold air. I can see the mist hanging between the mountains and the valleys. I can hear the birds. I can smell the coffee. I didn't paint coffee in this picture. I should have done that. No. But anyway, that's part of what I think art is. It's just remembering things and painting things you're fond of. And so I'm Poppa, and this channel is called Poppa Paints. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here a while, then you kind of know the drill. The painting part of this is I used watercolor, and I used wet on wet for most of the top part of painting, and then I used wet on dry for a lot of the bottom, and I did use watercolor for almost all of it, but I used gouache for the man and to also accentuate some of the shadows on the trees and around the tent. So welcome to the channel. Thank you for being here. What else do you say? How about we just say, let's get going. Let's go camping. Come on, let's go. Let's go to the mountains of North Carolina and look out at the open landscape. All right, good morning. Today, I'm going to use the watercolor paint set from Woomer, Woomer, and there are 36 colors in here. And this is the pan watercolors. Let me show you what they look like. I've used them already, so they're a little bit messy, but that's okay. And for those of you who are new, these pan watercolors simply mean that they're dried in the pan. They're hard, and you use them by activating them with water. So to see exactly the colors that they will make, they give you a blank sheet that you can then put a swatch on of each color, and that's what I did here. Because you can tell, it's hard sometimes to tell, for example, that is going to look like that. Of course, it's a little dirty, so I'll have to wash it off. But in general, these are what the colors look like. Look at that pink right there. You see that pink? Now it's hard to believe that that's this color right here, what I'm pointing at. So that's why you do a swatch, because you see that. Let me use the paintbrush to point it out. That, hold on, I'll get it. That color right there is that color right there. And any of them really, it's kind of hard to tell that is that. But it is. And that's important to know with the watercolors. I am going to start this painting right now. I'm going to use the wet on wet technique. And then I'll let it dry and then I'll paint over it. I'm not sure if I'll be using gouache later on, because I kind of have an idea for a composition that might require a little bit more paint, a little bit more opaque paint. But I'm going to try to do it all with watercolor, with these the Woomer watercolors here. So I'm doing a camping scene, and since I'm an old man, I'm gonna try to paint an old man in this scene. That's a very small page right here. Here's my ruler. So this paper is only 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches, right? Yeah. So it's a square, and it is in my my journal. So it's one of the first pages. I just started this journal a few days ago, and I will, if I remember, I'll put a link on. I bought it on Amazon. That's probably the easiest thing to tell you. All right, so let's just go ahead and grab some orange and put the wet on wet up here. Just get a little bit of it going there. Don't want to do too much. Just kind of spread it out. And then I'm going to clean the brush. Just clean it. And then I'm going to use some of this blue. I think this blue. And I'll put that on there too. But I don't want them to mix, because otherwise they'll create a green tone. I don't really want a green tone yet. I'll want some green later on when I do the trees. But right now, just get some of this blue on here. There we go. And then down here also. And I want the wet on wet because it'll give it, oops, that's a little too green, too blue. So what you do to tone it down is you grab an opposite color. So what's the opposite of blue? Let me think on the color scale. Let me think. Let me try to do a color scale for you. Okay, so you got red, okay, yellow, and blue. Okay, those are the three colors, right? The three primaries. And red and blue make purple. I know it's not purple paint, but red and yellow make green. Yellow, oh wait, red and yellow make orange. Sorry, orange. Yellow and blue make green. Okay, so now when you have blue, you say, well, what's the opposite of blue? Well, it's orange. That's right. So to tone down the blue, we're going to use orange. Did that make sense? And then it tones it down. You see, it kind of makes it almost muddy. And then we can adjust everything with water. That's the beauty of watercolors. So I'm going to just create a little distant mountain. Let me add some more blue to that now. I want it to be blue-ish. Get there, some distant mountains there. There we go. And we're going to make that look good. Okay, and we want the mountains to be a little hazy toward the valley. So I'm going to pick up some of that and get it light colored like that. All right, and I'm going to sharpen that edge a little bit. Yeah, that's the idea. You could even use a napkin. I'm going to use a tissue right here just to dry it up, make it dry a little quicker too. There we go. So we got that background going on there. All right, now I was using wet on wet for that, but now I'm going to use wet on dry. And again, I want to use a kind of a bluish green if I have one here. And we're going to paint it on it. There we go. A little bit here. There we go. A couple of mountains in here. The Smoky Mountains is kind of what I'm imagining because it's the mountains I'm really the most familiar with. It's where I would go camping with my son when he was younger. Well, I was younger too. We were both younger. Gosh, time flies. You just don't realize how. Sometimes it's hard. You know, they say savor the moment. You know, make sure you appreciate the time you're in. But it's not easy always. It's not easy to imagine what is right around the corner. It's impossible, really. I guess we just have to trust in God for everything, really. So, alright, so let's just get some of these in here. I think that's okay. It can be a little bit more defined, but I'll wait for it to dry to do that. Now what we want to do is we want to get some of this yellow. I'm going to put some of this yellow on here. And you can already see some of this mountain landscape starting to form here. There we go. And we're going to put a tent right there, I think. I can put a tent right there. And we'll put our man right there too. I might do the man with gouache. I think I will. In fact, I might do the tent with gouache also. You know what? That's really what I want to do. So I'm going to just go ahead and paint the ground. Get a little bit of brown in there. And then we're going to put the tent right over here, but we're going to do that with gouache in a little bit. There we go. Let's go ahead and get some dark on here. Kind of plot it out a little bit. Maybe like that. We'll go ahead and get some dark green behind the tent. There we go. And some of this down here. There we go. Now let's get some gray over here, put some rocks. Put the light, the dark side on. We'll worry about the light later on. Just some easy rock formations here. think we're getting the general idea here. So you can almost see the landscape already. I'm going to go ahead and try to paint a little bit of this tent here. See if I can get this in here. Very light. There we go. I think I'm going to do the man with gouache though. Alright, so we have some very, very super rough picture now. The top is now dry. So we've been doing wet on wet, and then down here we've been doing wet on wet. But now we're going to do wet on dry. I'm going to add some trees here. So I want to just take some dark color. And like I say, I'm going to add the tent with gouache. Let's put some of these trees here. I have so many fond memories of camping in the mountains with my son, and we used a tent, absolutely used a tent. Now, I will tell you this, that when it rained, we did get a cabin, and sometimes we even got a Motel 6, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it just got to be to the point where, okay, I'm not that much of an outdoors person, so let's just go ahead and get a motel room. Those were fun times. Very fond memories of that moment in my younger life. You know, they say when you get older, you draw on your memories. And I've said this before because I like the word draw on your memories. And there is something very cool about painting. And if I was with other people right now, they would all be joining in, and they would be sharing their memories, because they've gone camping, and they've had road trips, and they've had vacations, and they have had children, or they have had a dog, a fur baby, right? And it is really very cool to be kind of in a group setting where memories are being shared. And I'll tell you something. I know you know this, but old people like me, we share the same memory over and over and over again. And we all do it. We all do it. And so the people with us, they just listen. I've even said to Robin, I know I've told you this before, but I want to tell you again. And she is a good sport, and she will listen as I tell them the same story that she could tell me, because she's heard me tell it so often. And you know what? There's a beautiful comfort in that. Sharing with somebody a memory that they've heard before. They know exactly what you're going to say. They know exactly what you did. You know? So it's a very cool thing. And I'm doing that with you right now. I'm guessing that if you go back through some of these videos, I probably have talked about camping with my son before. I've done pictures of camping before. But there is a certain beauty in talking about your memories, and there's also a certain beauty in, as an artist, you can do this. See, other non-artists, I don't know, they can't do this really. But as an artist, you can relive those memories while you're painting them. And you want to know something? It won't look exactly like a photograph that you might have taken at that time. Well, you could use a photograph as a reference photo, but I prefer to just do it loose. I prefer to just have fun, and just paint the memories. I hope you have good memories. I hope you don't stop making memories. I went yesterday with Robin to her brother's place and his wife, and we had a birthday party for Robin's brother. He turned 68 years old. So that was fun. That was a good time. We had a good time. And guess what we did? We shared memories. We absolutely did. So, and some of the memories that were shared, we've all heard before. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sharing memories. So from an art point of view, let's just talk about the art. We're doing watercolor, and we're doing wet on wet and wet on dry, kind of a combination of the two. It's not really all one-sided here. But just a way to have fun. It's a way to spend the morning in almost a meditative state, It's almost like you're meditating when you're remembering things and sharing those memories with people. So, I don't know if I told you this, but Robin and I have a new book. It's about Harriet Beecher Stowe. And she's an amazing woman. Robin wrote the book and I illustrated it. And we got the proof yesterday. Can I show you the proof? Let me show you the proof. This is the proof of the book. You see, it's got that thing that says "not for resale." So that's how they send it to you. And that's the back of the book. That's me and Robin right there. So it's called "The Day Harriet Beecher Stowe Visited Silver Springs." And I'm so happy with it. So the illustrations, I did the illustrations, and I put the book together. Robin wrote the story. And it took about 8 months. This was not a quick thing, but it's very rewarding, and it tells the story of the day that she visited Silver Springs, which is here in our community. So I don't know if any of you would be interested in seeing how I put it together. I used Procreate. You know what? I'm gonna ask you, I guess, if you want. If there's anybody out there that would like me to show you how I did that on Procreate. Now, you don't have to use Procreate, but that's what I use, and that's what I know how to use, so I can show you how I did that if you want. Just put it in the comments if that sounds like something you'd like to see, and I can show you. So you could use what do you call them? Photoshop, Adobe. I think there's something called Illustrator you can use. There's a few things you can use to make to put your book together. So you have to, when you submit it, at least what we use, you have to use what do you call it? A PDF. You have to make a PDF, and And of course, each page has to have its own file. And I can show you how I do that. It's actually very simple, but it took a little trial and error on my part, to be honest. We've done like 20-something books, so it's not new for me. I've done it a long time now. But I'm only mentioning it now because I thought, well, maybe some of you would like to do that. It is our main, like, you know, we're both retired from radio, but there was no, like, retirement package. Not our radio, anyway. We worked in very small stations. So we know we didn't have a retirement package, so we have to supplement our income. And the books is what does it for us. That is absolutely the truth. So if you're wanting to supplement your income and you want to write some children's books, I'm not telling you it's easy. The writing of them is easier than the marketing. But you do have to market them, and I'm not telling you it's easy to get people to buy your books. It's really not. In fact, out of 20-something books that we've written, there's really only one that is the moneymaker. What do I say? I say it's the one that pays the rent. Yeah, so we're not getting rich on it, but you know, we're treading water or whatever. And we get to do things. We get to see the kids. Robin has a son in Jersey and in Dallas, and so, you know, it kind of helps pay for the airfare and the gasoline and the hotels. That's kind of really what the books have helped us do. So, not to mention buying shoes. I had to buy shoes the other day. Yeah, so if you are interested in seeing how I put the book together, if you want to hear about the whole book experience, let me know, and I'll do it. I was tempted to do it this morning, but I thought, well, nobody really wants to see that. But now that I'm talking about it, now that I got your ear, I guess I can just kind of put the word out there. All right, back to this. So I'm just dabbing in what I think the trees would look like, and it's kind of coming together here. You know, it's kind of come together. The thing about the Smoky Mountains is they've got so many beautiful trees, so many beautiful landscapes. So I'm trying really hard here to create a little bit of a scene. You see the tent, it's already starting to show like a tent, so. Yeah. Little marks here and there. It all comes together eventually. Some more darkness here. That's kind of half the thing, is the lights and the shadows. It's kind of the main thing you have to look at. If you think about it, that's kind of what everything is lights and shadows. I still want to put my guy right here. So I'll just keep working with the watercolor until I'm ready for the gouache, because I'm going to use the gouache for the guy. Yeah, so this is going to be a study using gouache and watercolor. Okay, we can keep going, adding a little bit more darkness to some of these trees. So now I'm layering on the dark, the black, the Payne's gray, and the dark blue. Trying to get these a little bit more contrasted. Okay, well, you can see it already. You can see the tent. The only thing, I don't have the man in there. It's kind of what I was really wanting. Alright, I'm going to get the gouache now. Let me turn off the camera, and I'll be right back after I get my gouache, okay? Hold on. Okay, so now what I have some gouache that I put in here. I have 2 shades of yellow. I have 2 dabs of white. I have a violet. I have a burnt sienna. I have a raw umber and a Payne's gray. And with that, hopefully I can make this painting a little bit more detailed, a little bit more. I'm not sure exactly what I have in mind, but I do want to kind of make it better. So let's try. Let's start with, I guess I can start with the man. I want the man right there. I want him looking out. So let's give him some gray hair. We'll start off with gray hair. Just a little bit. Give him a little bit of Payne's gray hair. Does that make sense? Add more white to that. Just a little bit. We'll frame his hair with just plain white. Hopefully it'll come out the way we want it. Very small. It's a very small painting, so let's give him a jacket. He's out in the cold North Carolina air, the cold mountain air. Let's kind of rough it in, block it in. Time we see him from the back, he's looking at that beautiful landscape in front of him. there we go. Just give him that old man looking out at, you know what he's doing? He's remembering. He's been here before. That's what he's doing. This isn't his first time in this place. He's been here before. And he's remembering, same as I do. I just remember so much. It's a beautiful thing. God gave us a memory that lasts for most people almost a lifetime. And he also gave us a filter. Some of the things we don't want to remember. Guess what? You know they're there, but you don't really think about them. So you have good memories. You're left with good memories. It's a beautiful thing too. And I guess if you have bad memories, you can do something. Try to remember the good ones anyway. Just don't, you know what? Just don't trigger the bad ones. That's it. You won't forget the bad ones. Just don't do anything to trigger them. Do things to trigger the good memories. Maybe that's what I want to tell myself. I'm not telling you anything, because I know you know. I'm sure you've got your own thoughts on this subject. There's our man. What do you think? He's looking out. He's looking out there. All right, let's give him a little bit, maybe a little bit hardier leg. The other day, we were doing our research on the book. Actually, we had done the research on the book, but we were just, because when Harriet Beecher Stowe lived in Florida, she lived near Jacksonville, in an area that now is Jacksonville, because they redrew the lines since she lived there. But we went there, and there was a museum, and there was an older gentleman, and he gave us like a docent tour, where he explained everything. And we walked with him to an old barn and to an old wine place, like where they used to make wine. And it was just really, really a great thing. And the guy, I asked him a little bit about himself, and he had been a journalist. He was retired, basically. And he had been a journalist, and his wife passed away 3 years ago. And he was telling us about why he became a docent at this museum, so that he could, have something to do. He had, like I say, he had been a journalist, and he was a history guy. So he knew a lot of the history of the area. And we walked with him all the way down to the St. Johns River. And it was just a really nice visit with somebody we never met before. And now we have a new friend up in Jacksonville. And his name is Mike, by the way. Yeah, Mike gave us a nice tour. So, all right, let's put a little bit of highlight on our guy here. Grab a little tiny bit of white. Put it around the edge of his head. Oh, that's too big. Very tiny. Maybe on his shoulders. A little bit of white. A little bit of light flat reflecting off of his jacket and the edge of his pants. That looks pretty good, actually. Let me put a little bit on this side of his face. And that shoulder right there. I think it looks pretty good. And now we gotta maybe a little bit of white on the edge of the tree here. No, I don't think I need to do that. All right, let's get the tent a little bit more defined. Kind of using the gouache almost like watercolor now. It's very watered down. Put some of that yellow right there where I made a mistake. I shouldn't have put the tree there. That tree should be behind the tent, not in front of the tent. What was I thinking, Mrs. Lincoln? That's the beauty of gouache. You got the ability to be opaque, kind of like acrylic, you know. There we go. All right, let's take some of this dark. There's his tent. That's where he's sleeping. There we go. All right, let's put some more depth behind the tent, the woods behind him. Use some of that gouache. And let's get some of this, these rocks over here. A little bit darker on the bottom. There we go. All right, a little bit gray here. There we go. Trying to create this illusion of some rocks here with the deep shadows. Darken some of these trees a little bit more. Happy trees. Let's see what else. Maybe a little bit of yellow down here. Maybe there's some trees kind of in the foreground or the midground. just a little bit. It's almost like orange color. And now just a little bit more white, I think. Some of these areas here. Yeah, he's camping. Get that a little bit darker right there. And you know what I can do? I can put little tiny wisps of yellow, make it look like it's, maybe there's some grass growing there or something. Who knows? Who knows what it is? Let your mind decide what it is. So I put all these colors on here in the gouache, and I'm honestly not using many of them. I'm mostly using white and yellow and Payne's gray. Almost there. I feel like this could be darker here. This tree could be a little bit darker. And maybe this one over here too. A little more depth to it. Alright, I think we have it done. I always say that and I keep painting. But I think I have it done. I think that's the way I like it. Alright, well, we have a man camping in the woods. And our crazy little color wheel over there. That's all right. I'm only going to take a picture of this side of it when I document it. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.